Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. In today's episode, we're going to continue our look at the true rookie cards for the National Baseball Hall of Famers. We're currently working backwards in the alphabet from players with last name beginning with Z, and we're currently up to the Ks right now. So today's episode is going to focus on those players. So the first one we're going to look at today is Detroit Tigers third base great George Kell. George Kell appears first in this 1947 Tip Top Red. This was, as the name implies, these were issued with loaves of bread, primarily in the Midwest area, but also some of these got out towards the East Coast as well. So George Kell, good hitter, good fielder, good all-around player for the Detroit Tigers for a number of seasons. He actually had a 1945 team issue. This was oversized, like 8 by 10, from a photo pack. He was with the Philadelphia A's at that point, a couple of years before he went to Detroit, his earliest major league days. So that one is 2 years earlier, but as I said, it's 8 by 10, so it's not a qualifying as a true rookie card because it's an oversized item, and it's also a paper premium, not a card. Some people collect the 1949 Bowman George Kell as a rookie card. That's his first quote unquote mainstream rookie. But I opt to go with this 1947 Tip Top Red for my collection. Next one we're going to look at is a Sporting Life cabinet. These were issued over 10 years from 1902 to 1911. They're cataloged as W600s in the American Card Catalog. And this one pictures Wee Willie Keeler. Keeler began his major league career in the 1890s with the Baltimore National League Club. And after the turn of the century, he played primarily for the New York Highlanders, which would later become the New York Yankees. So Keeler again has a couple of earlier issues before this one, but they appear in the late 1890s. There's a Sporting News supplement which is cataloged as M101-1. Keeler appears in there. And that one again is a roughly about 9 by 11 or so, so it's even bigger than the Kell team photo. And Keeler also appears on a couple of Baltimore team cards back in the 1890s, or team composites, where they have all the players from the club on one card or cabinet card. But again, anything more than 4 players on one card, in my qualification, does not make it a true rookie option. So 1902 to 11, W600 Keeler. This one here pictures Willie in his formal attire, not in his uniform, which means it's one of the earliest issues from 1902 as opposed to the later years. Okay, next one up is going to be one of the old Judge cards. This is the 1887 to 1890 Tobacco Series. Goodwin and Company is the ones that produced it. This one has, with all the variations and poses, over 5,000 cards, the largest baseball card set ever produced. And this one pictures Tim Keefe, who was a 300-game winner during the 19th century. Spent most of his seasons with the New York Giants. And one of his many poses, I believe he has maybe up to 15 or 16 different poses and variations in the old Judge set. So Tim Keefe, true rookie card. Next one we're going to look at is one familiar to probably everybody here. This one is a 1954 Topps Al Kaline. Mainstream rookie card. Not too many other options for Kaline out there. There's one 1954 All-Star photo pack that was one of those team issues that came in an envelope that was sold at the ballpark or at the stadium. Recent proof seems to indicate that that 1954 All-Star photo pack, though, might actually be from 1955, as several of the players that were in that issue were not on the 1954 All-Star teams. Uh, so there's some doubt as to whether those were actually 54 or 55 now. So I would go with the 54 tops for the Al Kaline true rookie. Okay, next one we're going to look at is the extremely rare card. This one is a 1903 to 04 E107 is the American Card Catalog designation. And these are also called Bryce Williams. Many of these have either blank backs or they have a something that says one subject out of 150, meaning that it appeared there was 150 cards in the set, although I don't think there's been that many ever discovered, that many different players. But some of them also have a Bryce Williams stamp on the back, and Bryce Williams was a candy company back at the turn of the century. And that's where they sort of get that Bryce Williams name, even though many of the cards do not have the Bryce Williams stamp on the back, and they're simply E107s, really. So this is Addie Joss. Addie Joss is sort of a tragic story in Major League Baseball history. He was a top pitcher, primarily with Cleveland at the very early part of the 20th century, and would have came down with a serious illness and ended up passing away while he was still active, pitching in the majors around 1910. And the next season, or later that season, they did a commemorative All-Star game where they got together all different ball players from the American League, including Ty Cobb and Nap Lajoie, and just about everybody. All the biggest names were there. And the money that was raised, it was sort of a fundraiser. The money that was raised would go to the Joss family to help pay for expenses and transition to moving forward with life, without Addie being around anymore. So, like I said, a real tragic story in Major League Baseball, and extremely rare rookie card, Addie Joss, 1903 E107. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a Rose Company postcard. These were issued between 1908 and 1909. And this one pictures Walter Johnson. Johnson was one of the 5 inaugural Baseball Hall of Famers, chosen in the first election back in 1936. These are picturing the player in a black and white circular portrait on the center of the card, and it's superimposed on a green background baseball diamond format. And the backs will have postcard backs with the Rose Company advertising on there as well. So Walter Johnson, considered by many the most dominant, greatest pitcher of the 20th century in Major League Baseball, and starred for the Washington Senators his entire career. And excuse me one second, I'm just going to adjust the lighting a bit. Okay. Walter Johnson was the Washington Senators star pitcher for over 2 decades and finally won a world championship with the Senators in 1924. Many people consider either his T206 or his Ramley T204 cards to be his true rookie. This one came out the year earlier, 1908, and it meets my definition for qualifying as a true rookie card. It's postcard size, so it's not very large. And I include exhibits and various other postcard issues as true rookie cards. So no reason for me not to include this one. It's super rare. I believe the population report on it shows maybe less than five that have been graded so far. The Ramley is also another real popular one that came out in 1909. And that one's also very low pop, but not nearly as rare as the Rose Company here. So Walter Johnson, true rookie card there. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a modern card. This one is Randy Johnson. Everybody's probably seen this one before quite often at card shows and all. So this is a 1989 Upper Deck, the first year that Upper Deck put out the introduced the hobby to the premium baseball card brand, I guess you could say. Randy Johnson began his career with the Montreal Expos, had a lot of wildness issues, and once he started to gain control and moved on to Seattle, he would become the, most dominant left-handed pitcher of his era. And later on would also move on to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and just one of the most intimidating pitchers in Major League history. And the fact he was 6'10" and left-handed just made it even more so. So Randy Johnson rookie card. There's several other options. They produced cards in '89 for Topps and Fleer and Donruss. Just about every company made cards of Johnson in '89. The Upper Deck is the preferred rookie of choice, though. And last one we're going to look at on this page is going to be our first Negro Leaguer today. It's going to be Judy Johnson. Judy Johnson was a Hall of Fame third baseman, and most people would consider him the first great Negro League third baseman in history. Later on, Ray Dandridge came along and could rival him as far as the greatest third baseman in Negro League history overall. But Johnson played for many of the most powerful clubs in Negro League baseball in the 20s and 30s. He played for the Homestead Grays. He played for the Pittsburgh Crawford team that had Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson and Cool Papa Bell and Oscar Charleston, and considered probably the greatest Negro League team ever. That was the mid-30s Crawfords. So Johnson pictured here, again, we've looked at a number of these from this set before. It's a 1974 Lachlan Old Time Black Stars. They're artist drawings by the artist Robert Lachlan. And they covered just about all the major Negro League stars back in the day. And those that he did not include in the 74 set, he would do a second series in 1978, 4 years later, and included most of the remaining big names that he had missed in 1974. So Judy Johnson, like all the Negro League players, never had any U.S. cards printed. Unfortunately, he did not play in any of the winter leagues where card sets were issued overseas, so he has none of those either. So his only traditional baseball card, earliest one, would be this 1974 Lachlan. Okay. Next one we're going to look at here is going to be the American League president at the turn of the century, Van Johnson. So Van Johnson's pictured on this at the time it used to be considered 1904 fan craze. The date has since been updated to a 1906 issue. So the fan craze cards were a playing card board game. They put out two different games, one for the American League players, one for the National League players. And since Johnson was the American League president, he appears in the American League set. And there's only a couple of individuals in the set that were not players, but they were executives or managers, and Johnson's one of those. And this is the earliest and probably the only true baseball card that was ever produced for Van Johnson. So 1906 Fan Craze, American League version, true rookie card for Van Johnson. Okay, next up we have another W600 Sporting Life cabinet. This one is Huey Jennings. Jennings again began, just like Keeler, began his major league career in the 1890s with Baltimore. Would move later on, would move after the turn of the century to the Detroit Tigers as player manager and shortstop. And Jennings would manage the club when Ty Cobb was a young star and would manage the Tigers during their three consecutive American League pennants from 1907 to 1909. Again, Jennings here is pictured in his formal attire, which means this was a 1902, one of the earliest W600s produced. There was a Type 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the earliest ones were Type 1, and then it would get more recent. The last ones produced were Type 4s. They had first came out in around 1906. So after 1906, everything produced after that was a Type 4. The way you could determine the difference in types is the Sporting Life logo at the bottom had a different design each time they made the change from Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4. So true rookie card, Huey Jennings, 1902 to 1911 W600. Okay, next one up is going to be a very recognizable one, I'm sure, to everybody. This one's a 1966 Topps Ferguson Jenkins. He shares his card with Bill Sorrell, Philadelphia Phillies rookie stars. As Topps did very often in the 60s, they would have either two or three or four players on one card to share prospect status. So 66 Topps Fergie Jenkins, true rookie card. There's also a Venezuelan version of this one, much harder to find and commands much more in terms of value. But the Topps is the traditional true rookie card for Jenkins. Okay, next one we're going to look at is an extremely rare one. This is one of the lesser profile Hall of Famers, Travis Jackson. He was a star infielder, played mainly third base, played some second base, some shortstop, I think, for the New York Giants during the 20s and into the 1930s. Jackson had played for McGraw's club and ended up getting elected to the Hall of Fame, many people believe, because some of the players, especially from that team, like Frankie Frisch and George Kelly, were on the Veterans Committee after they retired, and they had a tendency, it seemed, to vote for some of their teammates when they came up for election. So many think Travis Jackson probably is in the Hall of Fame because of that. But he was an excellent player, a good hitter, and fielder as well. And his true rookie card, like I said, is an extremely rare one. This is a 1922 William Patterson. This has since been believed to have really been dated and came out more like 23 or 24 as opposed to 22. But either way, it's still the only Travis Jackson card that came out prior to 1925, other than this one. So still his true rookie card, no matter what. Population on these William Pattersons are very low, probably in the 5 range. Not more than that for just about everybody in the set. And black and white image, similar to the American Caramel and National Caramel cards that were printed in the US during this era. Okay, next one we're going to look at is another real familiar, more modern card. This is Reggie Jackson. This is a 1969 Topps. Jackson also had several other 69 subsets and regional issues that were put out that also could be considered rookies. There was a 69 Topps decal with the exact same image. That's a rookie year piece. There was a couple of local photographers. Anderson, one was Anderson and one was Broder. They put out Athletics team issue sort of photo packs, but they were smaller. They were just about regular card size, standard card size. And those included Reggie in 1969. Those are black and white. Those are other rookie options. And there's also a Top Super, which is a glossy, thicker cardboard. That was really like a test issue in '69, but another Jackson with a different image on it. So a number of different options for Reggie in the '69 Topps series. Okay, next one we're going to look at is another extremely rare one. This one is Monte Irvin. And he's pictured here in his Almendaris uniform, which was a season that he played in the Cuban Winter League. And this is from 1948 to 49. So this predates his traditional 51 Bowman and 51 Topps Redback by about 3 years. And is the earliest Monte Irvin card. He spent time in the Negro Leagues before this, but this is the only true baseball card ever produced of Irvin while he was in the Negro Leagues playing Winter League ball. So 1948-49 El Indio, super rare Cuban issue. Population on this one is somewhere in the 5 range again. Okay, next one we're going to look at is another one that's probably very familiar. This is a 1965 Topps Catfish Hunter rookie card. Shares the card with three other players or 3 other individuals: Johnny Blue Moon Odom, Skip Lockwood, and Renee Latchman. Actually, all 4 of those would end up playing Major League Baseball to some extent, but obviously Catfish Hunter, being the Hall of Fame pitcher, is the key player pictured here. And this one is a high number, so it makes it a little tougher and a little more valuable in the 65 Topps set. And the last one we're going to cover today is William Hulbert. Hulbert's kind of a unique story. I believe he only spent one season or 2 seasons in Major League Baseball, and he was the very first president of the National League. And he only had that role, like I said, for I think it was 1 year, but it might have been 2 years. And then he stepped down, and somebody else took over that spot. But because he was the first, he's gotten elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So therefore, becomes somebody that Hall of Fame collectors need to have a card for. Unfortunately, there was never anything, as you could imagine, ever issued for Hulbert back in the 19th century, as he was a league president, and they really didn't make cards of any of those types of individuals. So he appears in a much later, more than 100 years later, 1994 American Archives set. And this is all commemorative cards of guys that played in the 19th century or executives or whatever, mostly from the 1800s, though. And the earliest baseball card produced for William Hulbert. So that's going to wrap up today's episode. Another 16 Baseball Hall of Famers, and we've identified true rookie cards for everyone in there. We'll continue the series again in our next episode next week. I hope you got some good information, enjoyed the cards. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again on the next one.